What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob, and in today's video we're going to break down the terrible game from last Sunday where the Giants lost 40 to nothing. Nothing was really good about this game at all. Offense, defense, special teams, all kind of very abysmal. So with that, let's dive into it, watch some of the highlights, and we'll talk about it. Obviously, the Giants' first drive looked pretty good. They go all the way down the field, and they get down there right on the goal line, right? And I think Andrew Thomas has a false start, and then John Michael Schmitz has a bad snap. So then you're pushed back a little bit, and then you're kicking a field goal. Next thing you know, it's blocked to the house, and game over. Which is one of those things. It was like, what is it, like Newton's law, like, or Freudian or whatever? Like anything that could go wrong will go wrong, and that's what happened here. And obviously the Giants moved the ball down the field pretty well, but then this is kind of the beginning of the end. You get one bad snap. Danny Dimes was obviously running for his life the entire game. There you go. It's just low and just bounced off his front foot almost. And that's how you kill a drive after having great success to start the game. It kind of sucks that that's how it shook out. But and then, okay, so I saw someone post about this on Twitter, and I got to talk about this guy, Izudu, because he sucks, and I don't want to see him play anymore. But all you have to do is block the most dangerous man, which is just the guy inside. They teach you this in middle school, high school. That's all your job is. This guy really doesn't have a strong probability of, unless he has the greatest jump ever, of really blocking it. So 97 is the guy you have to block. Like, even 60, what the fuck is he doing? So you got to get one of these inside guys. You really don't block anyone, but all you have to do is just block to the inside. That's all it takes, and you don't even really turn your back to him, and then next thing you know, 7-0 off to the races. Just absolutely how you take all the momentum out of a game when you start pretty decently. Completely shanked that kick. I think Cano really shanked one too later on. 3rd and 10. Alright, where does Micah Parsons come from here? Where is he? Okay, so he's lined up on Neal, and he does like a really big loop around. Or wait, no, he just brings the pressure, and then does he just realize that, oh no, Neal bails on him because he sees this guy coming, and then Glowinski just freaking gets beat into the inside. Parsons is one of the best in the league this year. Probably for the significant future, so you got to figure out a way to game plan a little bit more. So you give up a sack, punt, 3rd and 4, and then CeeDee Lamb gets like a 40-yard catch. All right, so you're down 9-0 before you have no idea what the hell happened, and you get the ball back. Let's see what happens here. You have I forget how this drive transpired. Obviously a penalty or a sack because we're at 3rd and 19. But yeah, okay, let's see what we dial up here. Obviously, we have, who's that Slayton here? Saquon in the flat. Let's 3rd and 19. Let's just give it to our star running back and see if he could get 18 yards on the ground. Pops up. It's Paris Campbell. And then I think Andrew Thomas actually, this is where he hurts his hamstring. If you watch him, it's kind of funny because he just like falls over. Like, ah! And that could go down as one of the worst plays I've seen in a very, very long time. When you think about, your left tackle gets hurt. Oh my God, 3rd and 2. All right, let's look at this a little bit. This is a little bit of a college play, huh? You're stacking this whole side. You got trips down here in a bunch formation at the bottom of the screen. Saquon to the right, and you're going to do like a little Tim Tebow, Florida Gator kind of just quarterback power eye. Does anyone pull? Yeah, you get Schmitz pulling. The only thing is look at Brederson here standing straight upright and never got across the 97. I guess that wasn't even the worst thing to happen on this play. Look at Neal turned around completely. Let's see who he was supposed to block. This guy beats Slayton inside. Neal doesn't really touch him or 14. Probably if you get a little bit of a pull on 14, that just slows down his momentum a little bit. But again, another terrible drive. Here you got 3rd and 12. Some pressure in Dak's face. I mean, you know, Hawkins and Deontay Banks were thrown into deep water pretty early on, considering, a lot of these rookies were. And that's kind of going to be like, a nice smack in your face to be like, welcome to the NFL. Everyone this entire offseason talked about all these improvements. You're bringing back Coach of the Year. You re-sign Saquon, Danny Dimes, Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas. Your foundation has been built. And after all of that, you come out and get spanked 40-0 at home in Sunday Night Football. Even if this was a 1 o'clock game, it would still be really bad. It just also gets amplified so much when it's 40-0 and you do nothing in this game and everyone in America is watching it, making fun of you, ripping on you. It just adds fuel to the fire. So, and then there was a stupid report this week of like people were pissed off that Daboll had a party at his house Saturday night, but it was for like a 6-year-old kid. Like, who gives a shit? Like, having a 6-year-old birthday party isn't going to have any effect on how bad this game was. That was a pretty sweet interception by Gilmore, honestly, because that was Danny Dimes just tried to throw it away. But this is what happens, it's cause and effect, right? All from the first drive, and the effect is you got guys scared, running for their lives. The O-line's playing terrible, and it was just weird to watch in person because it's like I know it looked bad on TV, but like in person it was kind of like watching a high school game without like the commentary or anything, where it's just like every single time Danny Dimes took a snap, it felt like he only really had 1 or 2 seconds before he's just taking off. So here you are with 8 minutes left in the second, 26-0. I don't know what else you're supposed to I would say what I would have liked to see was some sort of gameplay change, because obviously the Cowboys racked up 7 sacks. You're giving a lot of free rushers on your quarterback. Obviously this is an RPO, which Bellinger looks like he even started short. But like, I don't know. If you're going to do it, Waller's got to give it a quick chip here. Otherwise, it's like, look, Danny Dimes has taken 1 step and he's already got 3 yards away from him. Well, marked on that one, 3rd and 1 is probably like one of the few positive plays. We gained a yard! Jesus Christ. Alright, let's look at this again. 3rd and 12. 3 guys get beat. Who's that? Brady on the bottom probably throws a no-hitter because he's trying to block DeMarcus Lawrence. Bellinger up top already whiffed on his guy. And he's like, I'll throw it to me. I'm open now because I already whiffed. The only guy who's not getting... Well, he's on his back, and then Parsons is like 7 yards away. But Evan Neal, let's see how he got beat here. He's just not moving his feet. He's just standing like too much of like a mannequin. He's got to move his feet. Like, he almost has got to take like a basketball approach to this. Like, he can't stop moving his feet. Every single time he moves his feet, he gets torched. Waller looks pretty good. I mean, I think the thing is with this game and this team, it was such a bad week 1 loss that, like, thank God you're playing the Arizona Cardinals in week 2, who have kind of like said they're going to tank, but I don't even think they look that bad in week 1. Oh my God, 73 standing there again. Okay, let's see what happens here. All right, so you got to play action. This is what Kafka does. You got Paris Campbell in motion coming to the other side. Stops moving his feet again, and these DNs are super athletic. They could get low, they could dip their shoulder and get right by you, and this is what keeps happening. It's like, yes, slap your hands together, say my bad, but you gotta kind of look yourself in the mirror. And that's also what pisses me off a little bit, because it's like, obviously, like, the Giants had to know something like this could have transpired, unless, like, in camp our D linemen were so bad that, gee, good God, our D linemen must have been so bad in camp that they're not destroying Neal and some of these other guys. Like, what were they practicing? Like, did they not think that they had a sufficient game plan? Like, Because what they went in with this game plan week one, and they said that they were, we were thinking about Dallas like a week or two ago, right? We're thinking about Dallas. What was done from a game plan perspective clearly wasn't enough. It needs to be fixed. Revamped rush defense, just getting gashed by Tony Pollard, but it needs to be rethought. And luckily, thank God, you were playing a team that is pretty much in. Everyone's just kind of like, no one wants to be there. People got out. Their coach couldn't even motivate anyone to make a sandwich. Like, they don't care. If you lose to this team, I don't even want to think about it, but it's always there in my head. If you do lose to the Cardinals on Sunday, there's some sort of crazy alarm sounding. Like, what are we doing? What are our expectations? Like, because if the Cowboys are beating you 40-0, they have a very good defense, as we saw, good D-line. But the Eagles' D-line is significantly way better, and they already kicked your ass twice last year. So it's like, thankfully you play them, I don't know, later in December, and hope people could get better by then. But, like, here's another one where you could see here right off the bat, Evan Neal, he's just so... He doesn't move. He's getting back. Look, this is the issue right here. He didn't move his feet backwards. I played right tackle, so this is like probably the most qualified position I can actually talk about and relate to. But look how close his feet are. In any sport that you do this, you're gonna get your ass kicked. Basketball. Here, you're gonna get beat 10 times out of 10. Boxing, martial arts. If your feet are together, you have no momentum. You'll get shoved right over. And then they got to fix this. This is terrible. This is terrible technique. I mean, so then you're down 33-0, 6 minutes left. You really haven't done anything. You're getting to this point in the game, and I know they didn't really do this, and they left Danny Dimes in the whole game in like a 40-0 blowout just to like get some positive stuff going. But I don't know. Sometimes when you think that way, it leads. Yeah. So when you're down 40 and you have your starters, and you're trying to make something happen and just get a little bit of confidence. I kind of get that, but there is a point of diminishing returns. I think you saw too, like in the last couple minutes of the game, Danny Dimes is in and he's still getting his ass kicked. Like, it doesn't take much for your starting quarterback to get hurt and to tank a season. I mean, look at the Jets, what happened with them. Like, Aaron Rodgers, 4 plays into a game where, like, the Jets have had a lot of hype, and deservedly so, and they lose, one of the best players the league's seen in the last 20 years. Andrew Thomas just getting absolutely cooked up top there, and then takes a holding penalty. So it's just like this game was just a complete, utter disaster. Every way, shape, or form. But you got to own it, right? Like, I don't even know what would I do if I was the coach of this team. Do you come in and start screaming and yelling? Probably at halftime, I'd be screaming and yelling, being like, "What are we doing here, guys? Like, you got to step it up." Then after the game, I think your approach has got to change, because if you're killing people and you're down 40-0, it's everyone's fault. It's the coach's fault. It's the player's fault. There's no one really who's not at fault in this. So if you start crushing everyone, you don't want to lose a locker room in week one overreacting over one terrible loss, because, if a lot could change with what could happen in week two, and you get that bad taste out of your mouth, and it can change the trajectory of the season. Obviously, like, when you look at, setting the tone, we had last year, right? The Giants, like, came back versus the, I'm just going to let the highlights play, there's no point in talking about it anymore, but obviously last year you start the game versus the Titans, on the road, you're down, you come back, you win the game, you go for 2 to take the lead, and you set the tone with a smash mouth performance like this. I'm hoping that a loss like this doesn't set the tone in a negative light, because I just don't want it to be something that we can't come back from, right? And that's the best part of the NFL. There's 17 games in a regular season now, so what you have to do, and probably what I think the most legit thing was, like, all right, watch the tape, get better, burn it. We're on the Cardinals. Completely forget about this. but there's guys that got to be better. And if these guys do not get better, like there has to be you have to mask it with leaving another guy in to help on the right side of the line, which looks like they tried to do a couple times with Bellinger, but like it didn't seem like it even mattered. Oh, good God. I guess it was a screen. What an ugly night all around, man. It was just so bad. But yeah, I mean, it's just hard to even know like how we even stand on this because the game was just so bad overall. Like at this point, just take them out. Like, what are we doing there? Slayton just stopped his route. You know, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror, figure out what we're about, and come back ready for week 2 versus Cardinals, which is a very winnable game. And if you don't win that, there's going to be a lot more questions and a lot of pressure compared to what there was, especially after this one. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, y'all.